follow Shubhanshu's incredible journey from Earth to the International Space Station and beyond. Shubhanshu describes the intense physical sensations during launch. Shubhanshu discusses the effects of microgravity on blood flow and body size. He highlights the challenges and unique experiences of being in space. He shares his emotional reaction to seeing Earth from space. Shubhanshu talks about mental preparation for wearing such heavy suits during spacewalks. At high speed, objects can orbit the Earth without touching it due to constant free fall. To achieve this orbit, a spacecraft must be launched at sufficient speed using a rocket. With velocity and altitude, the spacecraft continues its orbit. Orbital maneuvering differs significantly from Earth-based driving or flying. By adjusting thrust, the orbit can be altered to increase or decrease altitude. For example, a low injection point at 200 kilometers could be raised to 424 kilometers. Shubhanshu explains the process of approaching and docking with the ISS. He describes how thrusters are used to align and dock manually or automatically. Once locked, bolts secure the capsule in place. Control is manual but automated. Shubhanshu describes the sensation of going from Earth to zero gravity in minutes. The body experiences significant changes and energy during this transition. Shubhanshu explains the rapid acceleration during launch, reaching 28,500 kilometers per hour in just over 8 minutes. Shubhanshu explains the role of fluid in the inner ear for balance and orientation. He explains the change in orientation sensation upon reaching space. Shubhanshu describes the physiological changes in the body during space travel. He mentions not having a chance to look at India from the ISS until he was able to see it during a specific pass. Shubhanshu describes the view of darkness and lightning flashes as they passed over the Indian Ocean at night. Shubhanshu describes seeing brightly lit regions like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Delhi, Lucknow and Kanpur from space. He then mentions passing over the India-Bangladesh border and the dark Himalayas in just under a minute. Shubhanshu recalls feeling extremely emotional during this moment, despite being too busy to reflect on previous events. He describes the physical sensation of tears accumulating in his eyes due to the overwhelming emotion. Shubhanshu describes how India looks extremely beautiful from space. He emphasizes the emotional impact of flying over his country at night. Shubhanshu mentions taking Indian food up to the ISS for their mission. He lists the 3 items that were qualified: Gajar Halwa, Moong Dal Halwa and mango juice. The food was prepared by DFRL under DRDO to be certified for space travel. Only 3 items could be taken due to certification requirements. Shubhanshu discusses why only a few Indian food items were chosen for space. He mentions that time constraints limited the selection process. Shubhanshu shares his experience of eating dry kachori with Sunita Williams. Shubhanshu explains that radiation levels in space are high but manageable. He discusses how astronauts don't feel the radiation while in orbit. He highlights his achievement as the first Indian astronaut to reach the International Space Station. He explains pre-breathing for astronauts before a spacewalk. Shubhanshu describes the intravehicular and extravehicular suits. He explains the weight difference between IV and EVA suits. Shubhanshu describes the IVS suit as a last line of defense in space. The EVA suit must support life with systems like environmental control and life support. Despite weighing around 120 to 140 kilograms, the suit is surprisingly lighter under microgravity conditions. Training focuses on navigating and pressurizing the suit for extravehicular activities in space. Most training takes place underwater to simulate microgravity conditions outside the spacecraft. But the IVA suit uses spacecraft systems for life support, making it lighter and more efficient. Shubhanshu explains that the oxygen system in EV suits is sealed, connected to the spacecraft's oxygen source. He contrasts this with EV suits, which require carrying their own life support systems. He shares his own experiences and training, highlighting the unique challenges of space travel compared to other high-risk professions. Shubhanshu reflects on the inherent risks involved in space missions, even with advanced technology. He concludes by referencing astronaut Sunita Williams' experience, emphasizing the high stakes of space missions. Shubhanshu explains that big decisions are based on available knowledge and family consensus. She is part of his support system providing encouragement and understanding. She plays a crucial role in his success, making sacrifices for him to achieve his goals. Shubhanshu left for training in 2020, leaving his 15-month-old son with Kamna in Russia. Shubhanshu acknowledges the significant sacrifice made by Kamna for his space mission. He outlines 3 key pillars for a superpower in space: access to space, launch vehicle capability, and hardware deployment. Shubhanshu discusses the key aspects of human space flight capability. He highlights launch vehicles, spacecraft, and the overall ecosystem as crucial elements. He reflects on his journey from Lucknow to becoming the first Indian in space. Shubhanshu encourages young people by sharing his experiences with kids through video calls and ham radio. Shubhanshu paused before answering, emphasizing the importance of dreams and gradual effort. Shubhanshu encouraged the children to believe in their dreams and highlighted the evolving opportunities in India. He explains that the idea of being an astronaut never consciously crossed his mind until it became a reality for him. Shubhanshu describes how things happen quickly in space, excitingly visible to his eyes. He shares his journey from being a fighter pilot to becoming an astronaut, noting how it was unexpected but impressive. However, Shubhanshu never considered this path and chose a math stream in high school. Shubhanshu shared his selection news with his friends and family in January. His parents were surprised to hear about the selection. Shubhanshu's father supported his decision but advised him to be independent. He mentions his ambition to do well in class and study hard at that age. Shubhanshu describes his journey through the SSB process and clearing it but keeping it a secret from his family. Shubhanshu went to Delhi for medical examinations and prepared for his board exams before NDA. He was set to join the National Defense Academy in June, but faced a decision on his future path. Shubhanshu describes how NDA training is very regimented with a strict schedule. He mentions that after a break period, he realized the intensity of the training. Shubhanshu shares his experience at NDA Academy, noting it was physically and mentally challenging for him. He explains that many students leave the academy due to attrition in the first month. Shubhanshu recalls a specific instance where he was finishing class while another student slept, highlighting the tough conditions. He talks about Sundays, when they could go to the market or call home for brief moments of respite. Shubhanshu mentions a tradition where astronauts grow mustaches during training. Shubhanshu reflects on how these experiences are part of the training process and purpose of the academy. Preparing is essential for facing tough situations. Resilience comes from growing up and moving forward with course mates who share experiences. Deciding to join NDA as a fighter pilot was a conscious decision early on. Getting commissioned as a fighter pilot in 2006 marked a huge transformation for Shubhanshu. Shubhanshu mentions his first flight experience was challenging as it involved a glider with an instructor. But Shubhanshu reflects on how aircraft advancements changed flying experiences. Shubhanshu describes the craziest experience of fighter flying, involving strapping into a seat with fuel-loaded planes. He finds fighter flying both challenging and exhilarating due to its high altitude and dynamic nature. He explains flying at high altitudes, where one is far from the ground and unaware of surroundings. He emphasizes the excitement of combining theoretical planning with practical execution during flights. Shubhanshu discusses the difficulty pilots face in abandoning an aircraft and the importance of staying with it until there is no other option. He mentions flying the Sukhoi Su-30 MKI and F-16, highlighting their versatility but also role specialization. Rafael compares F-16's agility to Mirages at low speeds. He concludes that specialization is more important than broad distinctions between Western and Russian aircraft. Shubhanshu discusses the evolving nature of aviation technology and the Rafale aircraft. Shubhanshu discusses his dream of flying Sukhoi 57. He shares the journey of becoming an astronaut, starting much later than his initial dreams. Shubhanshu discusses testing new aircraft and systems like the Tejas LCA. Shubhanshu Shukla mentions he started preparing for his space mission around 10 years prior in 2016. He felt bored with his current role as a combat instructor and decided to pursue something more challenging. Shubhanshu applied to become a test pilot and completed the course, then served as a test pilot for the Air Force. As a test pilot, Shubhanshu faced incendiarily risky situations where he pushed aircraft to their limits. Shubhanshu recalls being a test pilot and feeling bored in 2018 when the idea of becoming an astronaut was was sparked. On August 15, 2018, Prime Minister announced that India would send a son or daughter to space, though mission Gaganyaan wasn't officially launched then. He explains that the thought of joining was always there, but became conscious when an opportunity arose. Shubhanshu discusses the Gaganyaan mission and how he applied for it after being selected from a pool of pilots. Shubhanshu discusses the challenges faced by doctors in selecting candidates for space missions due to limited information and the need for precautionary measures. Scientific reasons support all requirements like VO2 max. The selection process for the mission involved multiple stages and rigorous training. Shubhanshu encourages perseverance and faith in life's journey. He emphasizes the importance of continuous effort and belief in oneself. Shubhanshu explains why he considers the advice to be useless and harmful. Shubhanshu expresses gratitude and joy at being interviewed by Raj. If you enjoyed this recap, give it a like and subscribe for more.